later, we're still paying the price for.
I think it will keep changing and evolving just like the dumpster business does.
As a nation, we need to work harder to keep more teachers.
And their BinBoss has been great with that.
Well, your idea was amazing.
So back a while ago, I said you can't do this as a side hustle. That if you're going to do it, you got to do it, your hardest and go at it. And you can't be successful unless you are doing that.
Hi, this is Derek Riech here. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update since I did my video with Todd. Been absolutely amazing in February. Ran in 36 cans online, did $20,000 for the first time ever. The biggest month I had before I switched to BinBoss was $8,000. So it's been truly amazing. I can't say enough great things about it. March is on the same trend as February was for me, but I appreciate everything that BinBoss has been able to do with the online booking. I should take that back. We did 36 online bookings, and then the rest of the money came from our bookings. So we really do appreciate what they've done for us.
So today we have Derek Riech with us, and guess what? This is Derek's side hustle, right? He is a full-time teacher.
Yes.
So we're going to talk to him a little bit about how he can be a full-time teacher and how he can still run his business as hard as he does. We're going to talk about how he got started, and we're going to talk about where he sees the future of RL dumpsters. So one of the things I really do want to talk to you about from the standpoint of, I know my daughter's a teacher, was a teacher, she quit. I feel like we really need, as a nation, we need to work harder to keep more teachers. Like one of my best drivers, he retired early. He's an English teacher, and he's just like, I've had enough. Just for a second, I don't know if we're going to use this or not, but for a second, just talk to me about how we can do better to keep good teachers and get rid of bad teachers.
I think the biggest thing that, like, with teachers and, like, for you and I, why we run a business, right? We can make as much money as we want. A teacher is capped. You're capped in a years, and then it's really hard if you ever want to make a transition from school to school because you're only there what they can offer you based on the sliding scale, right? So it's tough financially if you're stuck at one school. Let's say I started my career at school A, but I want to go to school B, but I have 20 years in, right? Mm-hmm. School B doesn't have to pay me my full 20 years, right? Because I'm stuck on that sliding scale where you and I can go out and sell as many dumpsters as we want to and try and make as much money as possible. So I think that's where you help them financially, but I think the burnout too would be the need and requirement of what is required of a teacher in a day-to-day operation. Kids are forever changing. The kids, when you and I went to school, when these guys went to school, is totally different than the kids we even deal today. I mean, I think COVID was real in how it changed the school process, the kids. You can definitely tell the kids who started now versus the kids who went through the COVID process and losing a whole semester of school and then told to stay home when you're sick. So I think that's part of how we could change it and make it help easier for teachers is to help them with some of those processes.
I feel like too, what's the pay difference between you being a good teacher and a bad teacher with the same tenure?
Zero.
Yeah. I've always said that. I've always argued. It's not that we shouldn't keep bad teachers, but I mean, how do you incentivize good teachers to stay?
And there's been other states that have tried to do that and everything else. And, like you talk to Dave Ram, like I follow Dave Ramsey too, and he talks about teachers are like the third biggest profession to be millionaires because they follow the process, right? And if you give teachers a process, they're going to follow it. But the thing is like, how do you grade teachers? How do we evaluate teachers that's fair and keep us all on the sliding scale?
Exactly. I mean, you're going to bring a principal in I don't know how you evaluate them, because you can't say, well, it's state testing, because not all kids are going to do great on state testing.
Well, then you and I are going to fight over who we got in our class. I want all the honor kids.
Exactly. Yeah. So how do we say, other than, I mean, you can't have the kids doing reviews on teachers either. And say, well, Mr. Riech is a great teacher. Why is he a great teacher? Well, he gave me time off, or so that's tough too, but.
And in the process, it like being a teacher is different now than it was 10 years ago. And I think it will keep changing and evolving just like the dumpster business does. And we have to figure out how to keep the good ones.
Yeah, well, we've talked a lot about the dumpster business I know at our side, and you're dealing, I know with Charles too, but the whole online process of booking dumpsters online, it's just got to help you because you can't be taking phone calls.
No, and I don't. And that was like the big thing. Like, so my driver, his name's Shane. He does an awesome job. He worked for me for the last 8 years. He's been full time for me, and he's 52, so a little older. He wanted to transition out of the landscaping side onto the dumpster side. It's a lot easier when you start hitting buttons to push a hook lift truck. He's kind of taken it over. Like our repeat customers, a lot of times we'll just call him for a dumpster. He'll tell me in the evening, hey, you need to bill this or process that, or I might get a text and be like, hey, Bill wants a dumpster. Can you run a dumpster? And I'll forward him the text. Simple things like that. Like you know, anything else, it takes time to get your phone busy and ringing and everything else. And but Shane's done a good job of helping with during the day-to-day operations of school, and you know, being a teacher and then still doing my business has been fun. And I've done it, you know, for a long time now. It's just been the last, you know, 10 years or so where my business has really taken off.
So what made you want to do the landscaping? Just
My dad,
okay.
he had landscaping equipment around. I mean, I'm a worker by trade. I'm very much a worker. The hardest part of business for me is the going behind the operations. I love the results of what you see from landscaping. Like, hey, we made this bed beautiful, or we did this install, or we built this patio, or just the outdoor. I love being outdoors. So that's where I got my love for landscaping, was from my mom and dad.
Okay, so then tell us how landscaping transitioned into dumpsters.
We worked for a large builder in Cincinnati, and then we were installing straw wattles, and they get torn up in the wintertime. Every dump truck, every contractor, every operator just drives over them, right? But the EPA makes the builder put them in place. So they put them between the curb and the road, and then when they get torn up, the builder calls us, hey, come clean these up, install them. Well, we were taking out equipment and having to load dumpsters. Their dumpsters are there on site, and they said, I was like, hey, we're driving a half hour in the community in a skid steer, which takes forever for turnaround time. And like, we would install 40 or 50 wattles. Well, an old wattle will take up one bucket. So 40 or 50 trips back to a dumpster doesn't make sense.
Right.
So like, load them up in your truck. Well, then taking them to the dump doesn't work either, because, you know, a dump truck can only hold 4 or 5 yards at a time. Our dump trucks, we had F350s, F450s. And so we were making all these trucks, and it wasn't efficient. It wasn't a process. You know, I sent them the first bill, and like, we ain't doing this. We got to figure out a different process, and like, call your own person, get a dumpster and charge us for it. And I was like, well, so I decided to do the dumpster trailer, where the roll-off trailers, went to Michigan, bought 3 bins, had a 24 and 2 16s, used it. And after the first rental, now it worked fine for the wattles, right?
So was that a bumper or was that a goose?
It was a bumper. Okay. And the reason we went that way was because we have like 12 or 13 other trailers, and they're all bumper pools. Okay. We have 2 gooseneck trucks, but we just didn't at the time want to be tied to this truck and only pull the dumpster trailer.
Got it.
So that's why we did it that way. Going back, I probably should have gone a gooseneck. Going back, I should have went even further and listened to my guys and just bought a brand new truck at the time.
Yeah, well, yeah. We've had that discussion too on one of the shows where, like, you know, what's your biggest mistake you made? And like, guys, I mean, it's 3.5 years later. We're still paying the price on chassis. Uh-huh. I'm still making a payment on a couple dually trucks that I don't really use anymore.
Right.
But I mean, everybody's got stories of the mistakes that they've made. You're saying, gosh, I wish I would have.
And that 24 was too heavy for the winch on that dumpster trailer to pick up. So we took it up to MacCorp and had them put an A-frame on it, and we use it on hook trailers.
So how long ago was it that you bought your chassis system?
Well, we bought it basically a year ago right now.
A year ago. Okay.
Yep.
So there was information out there on where you could go to and who's probably the best. Because I mean, like I bought a PJ just because it was close and I could see it in action. And then after I bought it, I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have put a little bit more time into researching and seeing the exact one that I want. But that was 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. So.
And I didn't know exactly what we were going to do. And it was also bin availability and things like that at the time. And the guy in Michigan was very responsive, did great with me, helping me get it all figured out. And
okay, so was the guy in Michigan responsive the first time that it broke down on you and spewed hydraulic oil everywhere?
Yeah, actually he
was.
They called Horizon. Horizon sent me to a dealer. They said, I said, your closest dealer's 55 miles away. He said, take it to your dealer. Let me know what the bill is.
All right. So what was the first time that it broke down? What happened?
It was an electrical short on the thing, and it fried a fuse. The winch I don't think it was cold. I don't think the winch had the juice to pick up. I mean, it wasn't very heavy can. It was like 4 or 5,000 pound can.
Yeah.
I was like, we can't do dumpsters and we can't struggle to pick up a 4 or 5,000 can. So then it broke, and then I was like, all right, we're done. I can't operate a dumpster company with shitty equipment. So.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm Mr. Not Fix It. I'm really not very good with that stuff. And then you get in those positions where you're just like, I'm broke down. What am I gonna do? You better figure it out.
Like, I'm to the point where like we're so big on the landscaping side that I'm ready to hire a full-time mechanic.
We have we have 15 lawnmowers, 5 or 6 Bobcats, and then we have 13 trucks, 10 or 11 trailers. So we do have a lot of repair bills.
Heck yeah, you're gonna need.
We're a huge operation. We have a good mechanic now. They've done a good job and everything else, but it's just that's one of our biggest things is maintenance, right?
And that was where the truck came in after we did that one dumpster that was struggled. We did a second one that was a bit pain in the butt really to get it into the driveway. I was like, we can't do this.
So I'm assuming if you're into landscaping and you've done that for a while, you're pretty decent at backing.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have any struggles?
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. Like my guy was driving a truck and trailer even for me at the time, and he switched over to the dumpster. It's just not easy.
No, it's not. It's not at all, man. I've told people in the past when we first started, I launched into this and this was going to be my career, and I was okay. I could back a boat down the dock and we could get it off. And but the preciseness that it takes with these chassis, I've watched some of these guys do it on YouTube, and I'm like, I don't know if they're really that good or if it took them a couple of takes
or what.
But man alive. So the funny thing is I got pretty good at it, and then we sold a system to a guy in Columbus, and he's using our chassis system, both of them now. Well, I had to go train him on how to use it because he didn't know how to. Oh my God. I mean, it's like I'd never done it before. It took me so long to get it backed up and to get it straight. And it just reinforced to me, I'm like, this is why I went with a hook lift, right?
And I think the picking up of the chassis system is tougher than the actual dropping of it.
Ooh, I don't know about that one. It's been a while since I've done it, but I mean, the thing about dropping them is trying to estimate where you're going to put them.
Yes.
And it does make me nervous. Like the very first one I ever did, I'll never forget. I know exactly where it was. Trying to back into this guy's driveway. I finally got it in there. I was so proud of myself. This is awesome. This is great. I raised it up. I got the dumpster really close. And the next thing I know, it just fell off the back. It was a loud boom right in Middletown, right over by the steel mill. I'm like, I can't be doing that anymore. We gotta lower these things, really, really lower because it got close in it. And there was some slack in that. And it just in the cable and it just boom, it smacked. It scared me. Yeah. And I'm like, am I hurt? Am I okay? What's going on? And then I'm like, I can't give. Somebody's gonna complain. I was gonna leave a crack in somebody's driveway. So first off, how did you find us?
YouTube.
Okay, so you found BinBoss.
I found BinBoss YouTube through your YouTube videos.
Through
I just even if I watch your video and I only find one thing that's informational, it's one trick that I get to pass on to my guys and my things. Like, I don't watch regular TV anymore unless it's football, the NFL or college football. Like, I don't watch TV. Like, I'll watch series and stuff. Like I've been watching Landman and stuff, but I either watch Landman, football, or YouTube.
How much online advertising are you doing on the landscaping side?
0. Like, obviously, we're getting a big snowstorm this weekend, and I've had probably 20 phone calls and 20 emails saying, can you pick up this site? Can you pick up that site? Can you do this site? Can you do that site? And I'm like, no, I am good. I'm exactly happy where I am. So removal.
If you had to choose a business, and you need to tell me why, would you take landscaping or dumpsters?
Where am I at? I'm 20 years in on my landscaping, and I'm a year in on my dumpsters. Starting a dumpster business has been easier because I've had the capital, and RL Dumpsters will pretty much break even this first year in terms of paying a driver, paying for the truck. We took a loan out on the brand new truck, and then dump sales or dumps and everything else. And it's also benefited the landscaping company. We've taken cans out for cleanups, cans out for jobs, cans out for whatever else, and used the hook truck. Today we used the hook truck to deliver topsoil for a landscaping install that we did. Right. So we've made it where the truck is multifaceted, just not a dumpster truck, but it hauled 8 yards of topsoil for our landscaping job today. So we're looking at the truck as a multi-tool, not just in the, but I look at it, the thing that I have obviously, Todd, is limited amount of time. So that's where I love Charles and what he's done with BinBoss and the online booking of, all right, I got an online book. I get the email. I go into BinBoss that night. I assign it to my driver, Shane. I don't even have to call him. He gets a direct notification from BinBoss that he has the delivery tomorrow, and then it schedules the pickup date too, based on how long they take the rental for.
I'm just going to disagree with you for a second. You're giving all the credit to the wrong guy because that was my idea.
Well, your idea was amazing.
No, we got a great team at BinBoss. We really do. That was our vision. What, and I want to get back to BinBoss, but what kind of hook lift are you operating, and tell us about just how that whole process has gone since you started.
So I started and I did my research online. I used YouTube again, and I looked at both. Do you want me to say the manufacturer or the builders? I looked at both Rubel and Quality, and both were fantastic products and both did a great job. Marlon at Quality is the guy I used. And he just basically got back to me a little bit faster. I think Rubel was going in and out of town at the time. I contacted him probably in February. Fort Wayne, there's probably a snowstorm or something going on, and I think he was going out of town. But Marlon got back to me. I have a Freightliner M2, bought it brand new, has a swap loader SL214 on it with the U-locks on the back, and then I used a company called Bucks for Tennecans, and I've used Mac Corporation for the last 6 that I've bought. So I have 19 cans, and I have the dump trailer.
We discussed this as we're doing the BinBoss, months ago. And I'm like, this is something I want to see happen. I kind of forgot all about it. Mm-hmm. And then the very first time I was using BinBoss, I moved it. I'm like, I didn't even see it. I just clicked out of it. And then I'm like, wait a second, what was that? So the next time I'm like, oh yeah, this is sweet. Mm-hmm. I really.
That was the part that my driver loves the most, was the weight stuff. So he could put in the weight tick. And Docket, I'm sure Docket was way overcomplicated for what it needed to be, right? We're delivering dumpsters. We're not like rewriting, Morse code or whatever. Like, we're delivering dumpsters, and it was like, I need to bill a customer. I need to do this. And like, it was 17,000 steps just to get to the end game. And that's where BinBoss has been really good for Shane and I in terms of, hey, you got an order, here's your delivery, here's the date. I don't have to send him any information. And then we use another marketing tool called Hometown Dumpsters. Have you heard of them? No. So all it is they basically, it's like dumpster.com. Okay. And we've done about $20,000 with them throughout the year, right? So I pay a fee once a month, and they've given me $20,000 worth of rentals. I can pick my pricing, I pick my days, I pick my delivery fee, whatever it is, per miles from my shop. Yeah. And I only give them the 7-day option on Hometown Dumpsters. So then if I get a rental off there, I used to be screenshotting the email from my phone and everything else. Well, we would forget about the days, and days would run over into weeks. And now I can just enter that information in there. I talk to Charles about how do I do it, put them in an invoice and say it was already paid. Right. And that way it keeps the schedule on BinBoss.
Running a dumpster company isn't for the faint of heart. It's long hours, juggling drivers, chasing payments, all while trying to keep the next job on track. I'm Todd, owner of Pack Mule Dumpster Rentals. Trust me, I've lived every headache you're dealing with right now. That's why we built BinBoss. It's more than software. It's a system that makes your dumpster business run like a machine. So you can handle more jobs without more trucks, let customers book online anytime, keep them happy with real timelines, and finally get invoices out before they collect dust. We haul too, and that's why this works. You want to see how it can transform your business? Bet on yourself with BinBoss and book a demo today. As we're doing more and more of these demos, we're starting to find there's just so many people who do not have a strong online presence. And I don't understand that. I don't understand how I'm sure you're getting people who are finding you online and saying, hey, we're coming from out of, we did a Culver's this year, and they found us online out of Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. I've got them coming from Tennessee, Pennsylvania. I'm just on the phone with a lady from Massachusetts because we did a dumpster over in Richmond, Indiana at a mall, and she's calling. I mean, our online presence is so strong And I know you're doing with Charles, so I'm gonna guess that you're dominating the market.
Right now we are, yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes to your Google Maps, I bet money right now if I pull up Harrison, Ohio, dumpsters near me, you're gonna be number one.
Well, that was the big thing too for me. Like I said, time's my number one commodity. I will order stuff off Amazon just because I don't have to go to the store. I'll order toothpaste off Amazon. My wife will get mad at me because why didn't you just go to the store? It probably saved us 50 cents. But I was like, they'll deliver it to us for nothing, for 50 cents. I'll pay 50 cents to have it delivered. And it's the same thing with the dumpster. She loves to shop on Amazon. She's like, I can just order it all right here and it'll be dropped off.
You'll pay that extra 50 cents because after teaching and answering phone calls and talking to employees all day and getting questions on all those different things, you don't want to have to go talk to somebody at Walmart.
Exactly.
And you're like, hey, Mr. Reh, how you been? I remember when you had me in 7th grade? You're like, oh, God.
And I think there's such a generation that where tech is part of this world and you have to embrace it. Like, I mean, you really do. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of old school guys who are very successful, but I'm a big believer in what tech does.
I think that's going to be the theme, right, for 2026 for us. Is if you're not online, you're going to die. I've said to several people before, no, I don't know anybody out there who's 4A dumpsters, right? I mean, in the old days, you were 4A because you want to be in the yellow pages. You want to be the top of the yellow pages. That's the first person they called. Now, if you want to be in the yellow pages, it's called Google. And I feel like with what we're doing, it's Google Maps, right? Because most people, when they're clicking, they're going to click the Google map and they're going to want to see who's number one.
Yeah.
Now, there's a point in time with us in Dayton, I've looked at it and we've been 1, 2, and 3. And I went in incognito with that because I know it looks at my past stuff. But we had Monroe, Miamisburg, and then our Dayton office. And we were 1, 2, and 3 on the map. And when we go to the transfer station, I ask, I'll ask Chad, who's at the door. Now, I don't drive as much as I used to,
Right.
but my drivers will ask Chad, who you seeing the most of? And he's always like, you guys. I ain't even seen any of your competition. I'm talking like and trust me, we know Chad. We've helped Chad out. We do a lot for Chad because he helps us out, right? And he'll tell us who he's seeing the most of. We talked about it before in some of our other shows where, first time we saw the big boys was the first time we saw the franchises, right?
Yeah.
Scared the crap out of me. Not anymore. I mean, we compete, we fight with everybody, but it's all because we have a focus on Google Ads.
And I really didn't start that until November-ish kind of time in there. And I had November and December were probably my best, as I call them, residential months or online bookings where I didn't rely on Fisher for rentals. Where I was pretty much those were our operations, was I did Google Ads through a different ad agency. And then once I found BinBoss, I switched over to Charles and then through his media company and switched my Google Ads over to him.
We don't have contracts.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in them. In the former businesses that I was in, we didn't have contracts. I've always felt like if you don't like it, leave.
Yeah.
I'm not sticking you.
Like I said, time's my number one commodity. I don't have time to waste on everything else that you want to throw in there. BinBoss has been great with that.
Let's just say June's going to be your best month in 2026. What do you estimate your revenue will be at?
20,000 a month is my goal.
20. Okay.
My goal for 2026 is to do $200,000. That's basically double from where we went this year to next year. It's to do $200,000 in dumpsters using the online platform, getting more dumpsters to turn them a little bit, and then just growing our name. Obviously, our landscaping company's done really well in Harrison. We've grown that and just continuing to grow the dumpster piece because it's so much easier in terms of someone complaining about, hey, my grass wasn't cut. You blew grass on the sidewalk. You blew grass on my car. And really the biggest complaint is you put the dumpster in the wrong spot. And I mean, you do get that call back on occasion and you get frustrated when you called them 3 times and they didn't answer and then they wake up at 10 a.m. and, hey, the dumpster's in the wrong spot. I'm like, well, we called you 3 times. We knocked on the front door.
Well, the beauty about online booking too, though, is you told us where to put it.
Yeah.
When it comes to the equipment, obviously with the landscaping, you got a preference. Like, are you a Chevy guy, Ford guy, Ram guy?
I really like the Cummins.
Okay.
I'm a Ram guy right now. I drive a personal Ram 2500, and then we have 3 other company 2500s, and then 2 4500s, and then we have a couple Chevy dumps, and we only have 2 Fords. So I'm not like one brand driven. I'm definitely diesel driven. I like the Cummins diesel the best though.
Okay. So your hook lift, is that a Ram or is that
Freightliner.
because we have 2 Chevy 6500s and a Ram 5500. So I was thinking, you said Freightliner.
So the reason that I didn't go that route was because I wanted to originally because of the cost point. Was Marlon talked me into it, and we actually have a 5500 that was my plow truck last winter, and I hated it every freaking minute because it's leaf spring suspension, not air ride. I was like, I feel like I just rode a bull for 4 hours after 5 hours after plowing or salting and that thing. I was like, I'm not spending $160,000 on a hook truck and it ride like shit.
See, our Ram rides really nice.
And he just said, because he didn't have any Rams at the time.
Okay.
He had Ford F600s, which I couldn't put as big a cat on, and he had the Chevy 6500.
I think we probably encounter more competition where we're at in the Dayton area than what you have sitting out on
On the west side of Cincinnati, like I said, there's a big guy by me who does a bazillion 30s and 40s, and he doesn't do a lot. I'm way cheaper than him on the little cans. And I think that's where I'm doing really well on the west side of Cincinnati with these 15s, 20s, and 25s. And the only reason I thought about adding the second truck, being in the landscaping industry, I know shit's going to break. I know the truck's going to be down. If we have 5 deliveries and that truck gets a flat tire, what are we doing?
That's why I had 2 chassis. I mean, it dawned on me one day, if it goes down, I'm stuck. If you were to go to get the CDL and you got to obviously leverage that out with your insurance and everything else and taking the chance. But you got a big competition guy at 30s and 40s. Do you think you could take him on?
I don't really want to take him on. I partnered with him. He's done a couple for me. He's been a good dude. He's not online. So I think if some of the online people went online for 30s and 40s on the west side, I would have a good freight. I mean, we offer 30s and 40s right now, but either we're going to broker with someone to take them out or we're going to take them to small cans. And we put that on there, and we've done that a couple times, and people were totally happy with it, and it was fine for them. I've had a bunch of people reach out to me and say, hey, if you have 30s and 40s, we'll use you more. And that's where I'm like, man, if I could generate more business, but then, every truck that you buy is, $4,000 payment a month.
One of the questions I like to ask is, we've all had those customer experiences that you're like, you're not going to believe this.
Monday and wanted it delivered late in the afternoon. We were slow, obviously, this time of year. And then we're like, sure, no problem. I was like, which one do you want? I think to get from our 15 to our 25 is like $60 more or something. It's not a lot, right? And she's like, oh, I don't got that much. I just got like 2 rooms. I was like, all right, we'll bring you a 15-yarder. Well, the trash was so high over it. It was like 2 feet over the top. They had more trash sitting in the front yard. They just had trash everywhere. And like my driver had to get out and throw some of the trash off just because I'm like, for $60, you have all this trash gone. And it's just like, it just floored me. And we haven't had too many issues where we've had cans overfilled or whatever else. One of the ones over the summer was when we were working for the contractor, they filled a can so heavy that when he tried to pick it up, it picked the front tires off the ground.
Yeah. First time that happened with a hook lift, I had my driver call me, and he was so mad. He was in the Navy, and he's got potty mouth anyways, and it was about 5 minutes of just nothing but F this and F that, and I can't F and believe it. And I mean, he just went on and on and on. Now it happened to him later, and he knew he could feel it happening, so it wasn't as bad. And then anymore, if he thinks it's going to happen, he'll just let it go. He's like, nope, somebody else can get that.
And then he took me a picture of another can that it had nothing but rocks and topsoil in it, and it was a 25-yarder, so it's a 6-foot tall can. It was 4 feet tall. And filled in the inside with just like literally someone must have come in the community with a Bobcat and just filled it like it was a dump truck.
Did you even try to pick it up?
We made them bring an excavator out and scrape it all out, and then we picked it up and just dumped it all out, and they spread it out in the yard. It's just like, you just never know when you're out, when you have a can out, who's going to put what in it.
We did one of the very first ones that I did. So this was December 2022. We did a job in Middletown, and this guy, he's not even in business anymore, but he had this coffee company where he was like roasting coffee and shipping it out. And he bought this building, and it had one of those 53-foot trailers, the backs, you back down into it and you can load it in. Well, it's filled with asphalt and all kinds of stuff. And he's like, I got to get some of this out of here. Well, me being the dummy that I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go set it. But I'm like, you can't fill it that high because I can't pull it. I could probably pull half of that, which I was wrong. I couldn't even pull half of it after I did my research. But we get out there, and his guy who was doing it, who was working for him, is like, I've done dumpsters before. I realize you can't pull that much. We'll only fill it half. Well, I get out there, man. It's just filled to the top. So I go to pull. It won't even. This one I just had the PJ too, and it wouldn't even budge it. I'm like, dude, you got to get some of this. No, you're gonna have to take it. I'm like, what do you want me to do? So, anyways, I'm like, all right, here's the deal. So I hired a guy with a Bobcat, a friend of mine that I'd worked with in the past, in a former life, and he comes down with his Bobcat and starts offloading it, putting it back where we got it. I don't know the place else to put it, This guy decides he wants to come down. He's in his Jeep. He pulls in front of the dumpster and just sits there. So I couldn't get it loaded. And he said, I'm calling the cops. I'm like, you can call the cops all you want. It doesn't matter. So he called the cops, and they came, and it was just a whole mess. The funny thing about it was, when we were down there, he in order to block us, I'm across the street waiting so I can back the chassis in. I'm watching my friend with the Bobcat unloading stuff. He's got to unload it because I can't take it.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You can be as mad as you want. I can't pull it. It's not like I refuse to pull it. I can't pull it. So he's putting it back where he got it from. And the guy sees us. He backs his Jeep. He's so mad. He came running out because we had like 5 guys there. I'm sure he was like intimidated by all of it. It was just him. Jumps in his Jeep and backs into a telephone pole. And then he goes and pulls in front of the dumpster. Then we got to call the cops. And finally he moves. And he's like, you got to come back and get the rest. I'm like, I can't. What do you want me to do? I can't get the rest of it. It was a huge fiasco. It was our first negative review. And it was. Did you shop used at all? Used hook lifts?
I looked for a minute, but then like people were just scared me to death with repairs. And it really came down to, I had went to Chicago, bought an F450, blew the motor, 5,000 miles in. The truck had 33,000 miles on it, blew the motor. It was 18.5 for a new diesel engine.
So it wasn't under warranty?
Nope, we were, it was, at the time, it was like 6 months past the warranty or whatever. It was way under mileage for the truck, but that 5-year, 100,000 mile on the diesel warranty had just ran out. Because, obviously you get a huge break when you buy something used compared to that.
But it makes you think they knew something was wrong with it if it was that.
It was my hard lesson of why I don't hardly buy anything used anymore for the landscaping company.
Yeah, see, because our biggest purchase last year was, we bought those 2 Kenworths, and they were used, but we really worked them over good on price because we wouldn't shop new because I thought those same issues, and we looked at it and said we're going to have probably this amount a month for maintenance. If we go used, if we go new or leased, we're going to have this amount a month and it really kind of worked out from that standpoint. Now, blown motor is obviously something different. That's a whole.
And looking back and trying to go to the 30s and 40s, like I found a hook truck, but it's in Virginia and it's got a fixed 62 hook height. And I've talked to a couple different guys who have said, hey, it doesn't matter if your hooks are different height. Your big truck's never going to carry your little truck. And then I've talked to a couple other people who say your big truck has to be able to carry every can that you own because of logistics. You're running a can and that truck drops a 30 there and it needs to be able to pick up that 20 there. And that was that guy's suggestion. I've reached out to 5 or 6 different guys to get input on it because I don't know that. And that's where I've just kind of researched it and asked questions. And your hooks aren't the same height, are they?
No.
Mm-mm. No, our big trucks can't handle our small trucks. In my experience with that, just limited, and it's not quite the same, is our PJ trailers dumpster. When we had the PJ, it couldn't handle the Max D dumpster, so we had to get that changed over from where it picked up, where it grabbed on. I forget all the other details to it because that was the first time I realized, wait a second, I'm going to drive right by one dumpster and I can't pick it up. But I don't know that needs to be the absolute rule of thumb. No, people can comment and they can say what they want.
Right.
I think it all depends on your personal situation and how you're going to grow the company. I don't ever intend for our 30s to pick up our 20s.
Right. And this guy who gave me that piece of advice is out of Indiana. He has 20s, 30s, and 40s. He has over 100 cans. And he doesn't do any sort of online. This is a different guy than the guy from Harrison.
Is he, when he's in Indiana, is he in like a very populated part, or he's got a lot of windshield time?
It's got a lot of windshield time.
So that makes it different. How many drivers does he have?
I think he has 5 trucks.
See, I mean, route planning could help you a lot on that too, but that windshield time, I hate it. And when we charge mileage, but you become so much less efficient. I mean, I've had some people tell us we're not charging enough for our mileage because of what it's costing us. Windshield time is a killer.
It is. Well, and every mile, that truck gets about $4 a mile.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll eat it up, and like I said, I'm just not like there in terms of ready to pull the trigger because I want to see that growth a little bit more. We don't even have a full year with the hook truck to get to 30s and 40s, and I'm very happy with where we are. I'm very happy with the switch I made to BinBoss. Very happy to Charles and his media stuff and what you guys have done with BinBoss because, like, Shane and I love it. Like, it has been great for our company. Whenever we came on, we've done almost $8,000 in BinBoss, and we are in the frigid time of the year, and that's great for us. That would be our best 30 days that we've had. My online sales was atrocious. Like, they gave you a free website or whatever with what you did, and then I even paid someone to redo a website for me. And Charles talked about how it wasn't necessarily driven to dumpster; it was more driven to junk removal. And even from then, like in 1 month with BinBoss, I've doubled what I did in a year with Docket in terms of online sales.
I've talked to people on the phone who've used it, but to sit here with you and you've actually put the pen to the paper, put the fingers to the keyboard and used it, booked up your customers, looked at the numbers, looked at the schedule, which I think our schedule is pretty darn good. I like how it lays out, but you're completely satisfied with it.
Yes, 100%.
And that's exciting.
And we use this CRM for our landscaping company that we use. All of our daily mowing schedule, they'll use it all for snow removal. We'll use it all. And snow removal is kind of how I got on to turn it on, that we need some sort of operating system because of the apps that we were using for, we're subcontractors for some large people. Like we in Cincinnati, we'll take care of 3 Myers this storm. And we do a lot of CVS's and Walgreens. So they have an app for tracking and allows all that stuff. And that's just where I knew that what I was getting out of Docket was not worth what I was paying compared to what I'm getting out of BinBoss.
It's really easy with us. Here's our price. We're $99.
That's what it's just simple and to cut and dry. Like,
yeah.
Like I said, time's my number one commodity. I don't have time to waste on everything else that you want to throw in there. BinBoss has been great with that.
But can you verify, because we've had some people, like we did a demo today, and they're like, there's no, what's the catch? What's the catch? Are we $99 a month?
Yeah.
You could text off of that, right? Your customers are receiving texts.
Oh yeah,
that we're on our way.
That's how I send my Google reviews.
Yeah.
So I'll go into a previous can and I'll say text customer and I'll erase this as the RL dumpster driver. I'll say, hey, this is Derek Riege, owner of RL Dumpsters. We would love for a 5-star review.
Okay. And that's all for $99 a month.
Yes.
All right. But you got Charles's hosting fee, which is completely separate.
Right.
And that's that. But the BinBoss, the software that's running your business that you're going to grow with, $99 a month. So.
And then way better than what I was paying for Docket.
You just made my video. That made my day.
It's easy when you're satisfied with what you're getting.
It really, I said it for the camera, but I'm dead serious. I mean, to hear you say that you're satisfied with it, from where we were when he and I sat down and just had a discussion of, we think we can do better. I mean,
for me, I told you time's my number one commodity, right? For me to drive an hour up here, an hour home, and then do a podcast because of how great BinBoss has been. So that's what I would say is why I, truly believe that. I gave up 2 hours just to get here to show you and make people believe that I think BinBoss is worth it.
Hey, Derek, thanks for showing up today. A great interview. So if you would tell our people how you can find RL.
So you find us online at www.rldumpsters.com or on Facebook, RL Dumpsters as well. The phone number on there is directly myself. So if you have any questions, give me a call or shoot me a text or contact us through the website.
His website will be in the description below too. So as always, if you would, follow us. If you would, like, comment, and subscribe. And then more than anything, if you would, book a demo on BinBoss. That's mybinboss.com.